Welcome back, everyone, to Let's Play Aurora 4X, episode number 19, I think. Let's start off with the comments, because that's going to be the first thing we're going to do, is basically make some revisions to our designs based on the comments. I want to thank everyone who advised me on some ways to improve the ships. We might even hold off one more episode on actually building it, just so I can get out updated designs. And as a few of you pointed out, a glaring flaw in my plan right now is I don't have any jump engine capabilities. I debated over several different systems, like one maybe giving the Aegis, making Aegis just a pure destroyer or even a destroyer leader, and giving her the jump engine. I threw this plan out the window because the jump engine has to be like 40 tons. I mean, sorry, not 40 tons, 40 hull size. So what is that? 2,000 tons. It's pretty massive. So there's no way it'll fit on the Aegis, especially because I plan to actually upgrade her point defense capabilities a little bit. So let's actually just go through the changes as I'm talking about these things, because we also are gonna, my final solution for now, or yeah, I shouldn't say final, but the makeshift solution I've finally settled on is to make a new class of ship, the Washington class destroyer leader, whose only real job is not to be a participant in the fighting, really, but much more so just to be a jump engine operator. So it's not going to have really anything except for beam fire control and 2 turrets, I think. I actually have it right. I made it off camera just to speed things up. Yeah, it's going to have... I actually gave it 3 magazines so it can store some reloads. And the number of reloads it has, the number of missiles it can carry, actually led me to determine what my formation of... what my fleet is going to look like. And it's going to look like, I think, 1 Washington-class destroyer leader, 6 of the Fletcher-class destroyers, and I don't know how many Aegis. I kind of thought I would settle down on 4 of them. So I'd have a 1, 4, 6 configuration of Washington, Aegis, and Fletcher. That way the Fletcher, which is the meat of the fighters, the offensive capability, it's weighted very heavily in favor of that. Now this would not allow us to do combat jumps, because we don't have the capabilities to do combat jumps, as you'll see. Our jump engine capabilities are just really pretty poor right now. So that's fine. We'll only be able to go into systems through standard transitions, or we'll only be able to take a few a few destroyers with us. We probably won't even want to ever do that. Actually, this is a good point. I forgot we actually have to design this. And this is what I've just kind of landed on, though. Because the Washington... Okay, if I take away the Washington... I gave it 2... I'll just show you what I did. So this is the Washington as it is right now, the way I designed it. 16... So it has right now 2 Gauss cannons and beam fire control. If I got rid of those, I think I can get this jump engine down to just a size of 10,000. Because let's make the changes first. Okay, so I'm kind of scatterbrained, sorry. Let's just do this in a systematic manner. Let's start off with the Fletcher, because I know what I want to do with the Fletcher. Almost nothing needs to change on this, but basically what people were saying is a lot of people complain about the single point of failure for our fuel and our engines. I rarely do this, but I am going to make changes to the next set of classes. So what I'm going to kind of roleplay here is the Federation is still new. They're making ships with fail points they don't really understand, perhaps because I was making naively these ships without redundancy built in. So we'll let these first class of ships just be kind of, bad about that. I was also looking at the damage allocation chart, and the good news is it's very unlikely for our fusion drive to fail. It only has a 35 out of 175 chance to be the one that takes a hit. So we're unlikely. I mean, even if you include the fuel storage, because this is also a one-shot fail, total fail. So if 55 out of 175, we still have, you know, slightly better than around a 70% chance that these two components do not fail, which means that we will still be intact. So that's good. So the only thing I'm going to do is just add a few more weapons launchers, because that's the general consensus. Now if we take it up to 16, we have to increase our missiles as well. Don't forget to do this. Okay, good. And 208, this means that we have a total of 13, which means that basically before we had 16 reloads besides the 12 originally in the tube. So it was 16 times 12. Now we've gone up to 16, so we have 12 reloads, and then plus the 16 already in the tubes, which means instead of having 17 total volleys, we now have 13 total volleys. So it's either 12 plus 1 or 16 plus 1. And we're now opting for, I mean, we're just reversing 12 and 16, right? So previously it was 16 reloads, 12 launchers. Now it's 16 launchers and 12 reloads. Plus the one, and so reloads implying that there's one missile already in the tube. Okay, so that's pretty good still. 13 reloads is, I think, plenty. I'm very satisfied with that. But this does take our ship up to 10,200. Now, I also think I made some other adjustments. Let's get out the Fletcher, pull her up. So I have 6 engineering spaces. Good, that is correct. This is another good reason why people point out that maybe I should do 2 engines at half size, because the max repair right now is the 700 for the engine, and this will be decreased. I don't know where the MSP is. I was looking for MSP. If somebody can help me out with it, I don't know where it is, and I don't know how to find it. Maybe when the ship is built it'll be visible, but I can't find it here, and I was trying to figure out where it would be. Maybe, is it in the, let's see if it's in the technology window. I think I'm gonna have to sneeze in a moment. Sorry about that if it happens. Yep, 1 second. Okay, I don't know if that muted or not because I don't have I have too many things on my second monitor. I don't see it. 1 sec. Yeah, it did mute. Okay, good. So this, what are your, it doesn't say. So I don't know where the MSP to repair is listed, but, or how that number is determined. But it is not, oh, it is 700. Oh, okay, so then it's just very simply the build point cost. Okay, that's good to know. So 700, it'll take it down to 350 if we just do 2 of the same one. I mean 2 half-powered engines instead of 1 full-power engine, so 2 700 engine power ones. This gives us redundancy, but one of the biggest benefits is it reduces the amount that we need to spend to repair the engine if it is what fails. And there's, you know, not an unreasonable chance that it will be the engine that fails. So that is a really good point. Another good point is that I don't have any redundancy built in for my fuel supply. I am just going to leave this poor, inefficient system as is for the first wave of destroyers, though. Okay, but those are 2 good points. So let's fix this up. Actually, it's done. So that is our Fletcher class. Behold her. She is now ready for assembly, I think. Let me just make sure. 10,200. No, something's different. I think I took the armor down. Oh yeah, I wanted it to have a square 10,000 tons. I thought that looked really nice. So I dropped the armor rating just by 2 to get it down to 10,000 tons exactly. Let's see, can we do 1.7 with this? We can. Can we do 1.8? We can. 1.9? We can. Can we do 20? No. So we'll just put our deployment time up to 19 because it doesn't cost us anything from 16. In fact, well, we could actually do this and this. No, I don't like that. We'll do 19, was it? Yeah. So armor rating of 6 and plenty of deployment time, 19 months. It's actually kind of long, 7 months, and we're up to, what is this, probably like 10 months. So we're deploying for really, I think, too long. Let's go ahead and see what the deployment time... The deployment time should be less than a year, really, because the fuel is just not ever going to be an issue. I mean, if you have the fuel as the weakest point, it's really easy. It's instant to refuel, but, you know, you still have to take some time to lower the deployment time, so it's not the worst case scenario. I'm just trying to see what I can get. Oh, okay, so if I go for 10-month deployment time, which doesn't seem too bad. I can get 100 tons back, and that gives me an armor rating. Is it worth it to drop our deployment down from 19 to 10 to get one extra thing of armor? I really don't know. I think armor rating of 7 is probably good enough that we're looking at mostly shockwave damage, which is going to kill us. I imagine that shockwave damage will be the main contributor to our death. I think we'll do it. We'll put a deployment time of 10. So that'll change up all the stuff, and actually I didn't do that for my deployment times, so I'll have to make some changes on the fly. Okay, next the Aegis. The first thing that we need to do with her is get her some kind of active sensors for missiles. That's what she's missing. So we're missing a few things: jump engines and active sensors for missiles. Right now we're just using the active sensors on our Fletcher, or we would be. I always intended to build an active missile sensor, but this thing is not going to be very good whatsoever at detecting objects that are the size of a missile. So let's just go over and build new active sensor. Oops. This is going to be a search sensor, yes. We want it to be for the minimum resolution. And I think that it's, 1.2? Let's see what the Aegis has. It is resolution of just 1. MCR is 2.3 million. Is that what I have here? No, it's 2.3 is here. Okay, so I must have made it 1.8, which gives us, yeah, that's right. So the maximum range for this, for any kind of ship, will be 20 million, which is not terrible. It's decent. But the good news is we'll have 2.3, we'll call it, million kilometers to react to incoming missiles. Which basically I just want to make this enough that we can detect them in time to get our Gauss. All we need to do is basically detect them within a 5-second tick for our Gauss fire control point defense to work correctly. We're going to detect them much further out than that, but the size of one is 1.8, so I figured in a worst case scenario where we lose all of our Fletchers, or for some reason we detach our Aegis, they're kind of self-sufficient with this kind of sensor. Still, I'm going to call this an active missile sensor, because that is truly what it is supposed to do. 26.6, aug, and create. Anything else I'm missing here? No, I think that's perfect. Okay, so I think, did we already create the jump engine? We did not, so I need to do that next. But let's go over to sensor fire control. We want to queue this up. So Alfie is going to queue up thermal sensors after this. That's fine. And he'll do it so quickly that, what's the next thing he was working on? EM sensitivity. Okay, good. So cancel this current project. Now you're going to do this first. And then you're going to do thermal. And then after that, you're going to do EM. Okay, good. So that's Alfie all taken care of. The next thing we need is our jump engine. So we're looking at... now, I have the Aegis done over here as well. I'll bring it back over. I was able to get 6 twin Gauss cannons, twin-turreted, or double turret Gauss cannons. And I got this all for 9,150. I don't know if this should really even be called a destroyer escort anymore. It's really not that much lighter. But I don't think there's any room for improvement here. We still have armor rating of 6. This is for deployment time of 16, so we can probably cut that down a bit. Yeah, so let's do that. Well, actually, it doesn't make sense to do anything yet until we get the active missile sensor researched. I guess we can just do a 5-day tick, and that should be enough. Is there anything else we're missing here? David Collins, is everyone set? David Collins, do you have a new thing? You do. So it looks like I took care of that. And okay, good. So let's just go 5 days then, so we can get that next research done. I guess one more. Thought it would only be 5 days, but looks like it's 10. Okay, good. So now it's finished. It's good. So Alfie is all set up. We already had his other things queued. We have another thing, another research lab available. Just going to put that into Dr. Allen's research rate research. Now let's go back to design. Is it still up? It's not. Okay. So now that this is done, let's add in I should have been doing the design for the military jump drive as well, but that's okay. We'll get to that soon enough. So it is active sensors. There they are. So 2066 active missile sensor. I'm going to call it active missile sensor to make it easier to distinguish between the two. That has worked very well for me so far. Okay, good. So now this has that. We'll add the 2 extra turrets on, which are non-energy weapons, non-laser weapons, I should say. Okay, good. So we're 6-1 and we're at night. We're not there yet. What do we have? What's the difference here? What am I missing? Let's do the comparison. Oh, yeah, I didn't add the armor yet. And I think that's it. 6-1, 11, 1, 1. Now we have... Yeah, that's right. And we want 2 more engineering bases, engineering spaces as well. So let's do that to bring this back up to something reasonable. And 5. So 6 is where we had it. This is 9150. So let's take this down to like 13. Okay, 13. Now let's see, 9100 is what we're looking for. Okay. 9150, 9150. Okay, perfect. So this is actually identical, 10 and 10 now. That's really nice. I'm like quite happy about that. Uniform deployment time makes the most sense, right? Because they're all going to come back at the same time. So if they all finish at the same time, this is the most efficient. So good. So these are have a deployment time of 10 months, and that's not even you can go over this. It's not like terrible if you do. It just means that they'll start to lose morale, so they'll start to degrade in efficiency slightly. But for example, if you're on your way back from combat and that takes an extra month or whatnot, then yeah, that's fine. You're not fighting in that time anyways, so the morale is not going to affect anything other than, you know, if you got into a random combat, which I don't expect would happen. So this is where our ship sits now. It's at 9050. Armor rating of 6. I mean, I kind of like it here. The annual fail rate of 109. I think the annual fail rate of the Fletcher was 133. Good God. Okay. So we expect to fail something to fail. That's fine. She has the ability to repair it, so. Alright, I think I'm going to call the Aegis done as is here then. It has the armor, which people pointed out, thank you. And it has the active missile sensor, which people also pointed out, thank you. So I think this one's done. Now we're going to have some fun. We're going to design a new ship. This is going to be called the Washington. The reason I selected Washington, even though I don't think he was an admiral, I think he only did army commanding, because normally I think destroyers are named for famous admirals. Well, the Gearing, the Fletcher, Gearing is, I'm pretty sure admiral, right? Okay, I'm blanking now. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, what we're going to do is the Washington class. Actually, I'll just do it directly, because I want it to be a destroyer leader, and Washington was a great leader. So, we'll choose that. Okay, rename Washington. Probably there's a Washington in the name list somewhere, but that's fine. This will work just as well. Do it here. We'll just put 10 on it directly. Now, we can't actually build this yet because I mean, not completely, because we want the jump drive done. But what do we want on it? What I think I want to do is, I'm going to make it a Collier. It's not really going to be, but I'm just going to put that there as a reminder to me that I'm supposed to put some magazines on this. And the way I did this was to have 3 of them. Let's go over to the Washington. So 3, 2 twin, 1 beam. And this ended up being basically a 12,000 ton ship with a jump drive that was rated for 12,000. So I think that works out well, considering if we only have 1 of them. Yeah. This thing doesn't really need the active sensors though, and I might even not want the active sensors because that will make it more of a target. So I'll probably drop the active sensors off, which means we might actually be able to get only a 10,000 ton ship out of this. How much were these active sensors? So the search sensors were a size of 200 tons. Yeah, that's not a whole lot. So that only brings us down to the 11,500. Those are just so small. It's almost not worth. I mean, it's almost worth putting them on every single ship because they're just so tiny. Okay, but we won't. We'll just put it. We will put it on the. I'll just stick to my original plan. We'll do the active sensors. We'll do 2 point defense guns as well, which means we want the fire control, beam fire control, 2 of these, beam fire control. That's right. And the only thing she's missing now is some engineering bays, which it was 7. Okay, we got 7 there, and she needs an engine. Don't forget the engine. And good. So she'll be a little bit slower, which means we will detach her. Usually I'm planning to detach her at the jump point so that everyone else can speed ahead, because she'll be slower. Let's see, our Fletcher is 7,000 exactly, which will be nice to remember. Let's see what our Washington ends up being if I add. It's going to be a 40,000. It's going to be a 40 ton. I mean a 40 hull size, so 2,000 ton. So let's just add any other thing of 2,000 tons onto it. Usually fuel is what I pretend to do. So let's just add 2 very large. That's not correct though. Actually, I want 1 very large. So this is what she'll be. And now let's go to 2 more. Yeah, this is perfect. Oh, wow, we're still short. 16, 10. Oh, yeah, she needs armor. I put an armor of 8 on her to really make sure she doesn't get destroyed since she is our ticket home. I think that's still a good idea to do. I think that's still a good idea. So now she's looking just about right. We don't have... Well, we do have the engineering base. I wonder why this number isn't matching up exactly. What's the difference? 321 up here. Good. 17. 17.5. Oh, damage control. I'm missing damage control. There we go. Now we're looking a little better. Okay, next we have engines. 1. Military jump drive is missing. That's fine. Sensors. Okay, and then everything will rescale when we add that huge military jump drive, I guess. So deployment time on this looks good. Let's see. Well, let's just do the min-max after. Let's not do it twice. Let's just do it once. So we'll save it here. I actually need to add the ordnance as well. So we can get, I think... Okay, 92. Yeah, 192. This is perfect. I remember that 192 I think it's 12 times 16 is 192. Which is very cool. So that means that we can give a round of 16 reloads, which is 1 Fletcher's. So 1 Fletcher's worth of reloads 12 times. And this is how I decided that I want 6 Fletchers with me. So that means I can give 2 reloads, my 1 destroyer leader. Very vulnerable point of failure, obviously. If the destroyer leader is destroyed, we lose all of our jump capability. Well, maybe we'll have one, we'll build another one as a backup, and we won't send it over, so there will be a way of rescuing them. So we'll probably build 1 extra destroyer leader just as a reserve, but he won't fly in, so he's not at risk. But the destroyer leader is going to be able to distribute 2 reloads to 6 Fletchers, which means that 6 Fletchers is the number I've decided on. Okay, good. So everything's done here except for that jump engine. Let's go ahead and design it then. Looks like I'm kind of settling in on it. And if we're making a lot of mistakes, I'm actually pretty comfortable that the comments will correct me, and I probably won't fix them for this iteration of destroyers, but you can expect the next ones to be even better thanks to you guys, which is how I like. I love that we can even roleplay it as the Federation taking advice from outside people, or the military personnel giving their input on the various design configurations or the capabilities of the ships as is. So, and we're doing that, and we're getting better ships. So 12,000, 3 of 50. This is just the minimum, so really can't talk very much about that. But 12,000 tons is good. So this is every ship we've made so far that is military is under 12,000, and 12,000 is pretty big. I think we'll be probably, this might even be sufficient for the next generation of destroyers. I'm not sure. Usually my destroyers are under 15,000, so if I can just make them under 12,000 to fit with this jump drive. Okay, so let's create this and give our jump engines, is that power and propulsion, I think? Let's give Madeline Jordan, Dr. Jordan, something else to do. She's doing capacitor recharge, and what was the next thing after that? Solid antimatter. Okay, good. So cancel this. Okay, do this first. It's actually 1900 research points. It will take a little bit. So then you're going to queue up. Where's my queue? Down here. And next you're going to do this. Okay. Now, the elephant in the room is I forgot to talk about. It's been a long time since the last recording. This series is full on in my mind still. The problem is with that lag, and I had to kind of build myself. I actually had to watch my own last episode again when I got back from my little trip. Oh, I should mention first and foremost that, yeah, I went on a bit of a trip. There was a channel announcement about it, but I don't expect that everyone would have watched that. So if you were waiting for the next Aurora episode and thought that this series had just, spontaneously combusted or the next episode wasn't coming, I just went on a trip for a while, about a week, and now that I'm back, we're back to recording and everything should be back as normal. And one thing I would like to do is also cut down the time on these videos down to about 40 minutes. The reason I want to do that is because then I can hopefully crank them out a little bit faster. Like the same amount of footage will be recorded per week, but I'll get more episodes out, and I feel like that helps me to keep momentum with the series. So, okay, those things aside, I actually want to take this away and give it to Dr. Jordan so that she can finish this a little bit faster. 1910, I don't know if that's, hopefully that's another, maybe that's 15 days? It might be a 15-day. No, actually, it could be even 10 days. Yeah. I don't know. We'll find out in a second here. Okay, so everything's done. Let's just skip forward until she's done. Okay, don't see anything there. One more. Oh, wow. Alfie just increased his research bonus to 60%. Amazing. That's perfect. Now, if only he would get his administrative rating up a bit. I think we can promote him, but I've never done that, so. Okay, good. So Dr. Jordan has now finished that thing. Let's go back and revisit our final design. And what I might even do is call this episode to an early close. It's not even 30 minutes yet, but maybe I'll just push it like this so that I can get feedback on these before I start retooling the shipyards and all that. So Washington, now get jump engine. Okay, good. So 11,600, which is still 100 tons shorter than of the other. I don't know what the hell the difference is here. Let's look. 3 to 17.5, 17.4, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3. Oh, deployment time, 16 versus 10. Okay, wow, so that explains it. Just very simple change. Let's see, can we get 11 out of this without... No, we can't. This is like the perfect min-max plateau. Deployment time of 10 for all of them. I really like that. Now, can we get another armor on it? I don't think so. Yeah, that changed everything. So let's just stick with 8. I mean, 8 is almost, yeah, probably even too much. But it is a destroyer leader, and we really need it to stay alive. If we lose that jump engine, we're in big trouble. Now, the good news is we don't even need to... We could potentially lose our engine, which would be fine as long as we don't move away from the jump point. Then we can still do a transit. Just the same way we did it with the probe, like maybe 5 or 6 episodes ago, to explore Proxima Centauri. We did it with a probe that had no engine, but that still allows it to do a standard transit, because the movement rate is actually just 1 kilometer per second. So this one will be 6,000 instead of 7,000. That's not a big slowdown, 15%, a little bit less than that, I think. But it's still enough for me to want to leave her behind, also just as protection. And now it makes a lot more sense why she should keep her active sensor, because if we detach her from the group, then she should be able to detect any incoming ships and jump back onto the other side for safety. So this is the Washington. I think that she is done, at least according to what I have on the other screen. It's identical now. So let me know what your thoughts are on these ships. I'm just going to push this episode. It'll be a quick 30-minute episode, so a lot shorter than our usual. Let me know if you see any problems with this. We'll just do a quick another look at these, and then after this I'll push on into actually building them and whatnot. So a slower episode for sure. I mean, we're not advancing forward in time nearly at all. The other thing I need to do is make sure we have We have one here which has no ship, but capacity needs to be increased. I should have been doing this. We're gonna do 500 tons at a time just for now, because the larger it is, the faster it'll build additional capacity, which was a helpful comment someone left earlier. So we're going to start off with really small capacity just to increase its build rate. So we'll do that. This will be done on 26th of... Oh, so this will happen pretty quickly. Okay, so we'll get it up hopefully quickly to around... this one should be 10,000 then. It needs to be 10,000 to build the Fletcher or the Aegis, whichever the Davidson Naval doesn't build. Naval, obviously, Davidson, I should say, is going to very first and foremost build our destroyer leader class. So if we just crank out like 4 of those, we can switch them off and just hope that we don't need a destroyer leader for some time. Maybe it's not even a bad idea for us to build another naval shipyard, but the amount of time we need to get another one built and then get that one up to a capacity we need is longer than... Well, actually, it might not even be too long. We're really not in a huge hurry to build these, despite my... I wanted to have these out on a deadline, but that was just all created by myself just so we got something done, so we had some fun. So, okay, so let me just call this to a close, because if nothing is really going to get done in this video, let's just keep it as short as possible. So thanks for watching. Let me know any feedback on these, and otherwise we'll just throw them in. I mean, if I don't see any feedback, the next episode may already start some great amount of time in the future when I can actually start building them, or maybe even with one of them built. It all depends on also how our Explorer is doing. If there's anything interesting for... No, I'm sorry. We want to actually jump to the ship, sorry. If there's anything interesting discovered, of course I will come back. So, alright, so until the next episode, take care.